50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
V1. Rotate.
Alright, we're coming up to our top of climb here shortly, about 7,000 to go. What I'd like to do is I would like to try for runway 16. So there is an ILS. I want to see if there's a VOR. Yes, there is. VOR Alpha and VOR Bravo. Okay, hang on. If we go there, and we go like so. If we tried to do VOR 16, and it was the... started with an O, didn't it? Osmos 1 Lima. What does that give us? Let's have a look. Curious. Palos, Osmos. Yeah, so we'll continue on the outbound and then loop back around for the, yeah, let's give that a shot. Okay, cool. Yes. We will try this, see if it works. There is one departure from Thessaloniki, so either I will private message him if they are ready to go by the time we get there, and announce our intentions, or we'll just have to do a quick scenic tour of the city and then come back over for runway 34. It's fine with me. The wind is picking up. It is now 330 at 12 knots, so, you know, it might not be feasible, but I do want to feature at least a little bit of the city and the scenery of Thessaloniki. It's one of the great destinations here in the Greek Isles, and it's one of the great sceneries here as well. So I would like to spotlight a little bit of just how much of the town is covered and the density, and the fact that it doesn't really affect frame rate at all. And I'd like to shoot for the VOR. Well, we can do the VOR on 3.4 as well, but I just want to show how we would go about doing a VOR approach rather than straight in ILS, because that's kind of what the whole Greek islands thing is about. It's about getting away from the norm. It's about all these small little fields, these scenic, beautiful areas with odd and weird approaches, and not just doing, you know, a 10-mile straight-in approach with an ILS, a nice, easy ILS. It's about hand flying. It's about, you know, doing some stuff that we might not be comfortable with. All right, I've now got the chart up for Thessaloniki, and it's Mike Kilo Romeo is our NDB, so we'll go to radios. What did I say? MKR? MKR. Put that in there. And 110.8, the frequency checks. We do have also an NDB on final. 345 is the marker. So we'll put that into ADF. Oh, we don't want we want THS. THS. S, like so. ADF2. 137 nautical miles away, that sounds about right. We can go ahead and turn that to ADF2. We're not picking it up yet. That's fine. Totally expected. So it's basically outbound for 15 miles, then turn back inbound. And we've got 3,500 on the outbound leg, 3,000 at 10 DME after we make the turn inbound, and then 5 DME is 1,400. So what we'll do is, let's just cross-reference that. So we've got Osmos MKR, which is what we're flying over. MKR 15. No, we want that to be 3,500. So I'll do 3,500. This sometimes works in this aircraft. This sometimes doesn't work. So let's just have a look and see if that took or not. Yes, it did. Okay, cool. And is there a max speed? I don't want to be doing 230 knots. Let's do 200-ish. So we'll do that. There's our top of climb. Top of descent coming up in about 60 miles, 55 miles. Okay. So that's all set up. Got 200 knots, 3,500. Center fix at 15 miles. We want, let's see, is that correct? Let's have a look here at the the plan page. Okay, CF16. We want to be at 15. That's correct. Then FD16, we want to be at 3,000, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So all we're going to do is we're going to scroll our MCP down to 3,000. We'll put in approach mode, and you'll see instead of getting, we won't turn on the landing system. We'll just follow it down. There's a slightly different indication, but essentially it just flies itself down. So what we can do is we can fill out the perf page. So the QNH over there in Macedonia is 1021 as well. 1021. The temperature is 14 degrees. The surface wind is now 330 at 12. Nope, not 15, 12. And our MDA is, I believe it's straight in landing 16, MDA 660. So we can follow this down all the way down to 660, which is quite good actually. Quite good indeed for a VOR approach. Cool, so that's all filled out. We can go to previous page here. Previous. And that's it. Alright, welcome back to the flight deck. We're coming up on our top of descent, so I'm going to go ahead and plug in a lower altitude. Let's go ahead and check what we might have to do here. 10,000 is not a hard restriction, so we can go all the way down to 3,500 for now. Do that. And we'll do that. I always do like to get on top of the descent a little bit early. So we're coming up here in about less than 5 miles. Go ahead and put that into managed descent mode. Let the engine spool down, let the speed come back a little bit. It'll what it'll do is if you're below profile is it'll start descending at about 1,000 feet per minute until the descent profile catches up, and then it'll continue descending. So watch as it stops at about 1,000 feet per minute. So it'll basically just start slowly cruising down, let the speed drop down right to the middle of our profile here, and then as this magenta dot here comes down to meet us, that's our descent profile. You can see it just left 280. It'll eventually come down nice and softly to meet us, and then the aircraft will continue descending at an accelerated pace with our optimum profile down to 3,500. Taking a quick look here at the ND, it's basically straight ahead for now. We do have Tango Hotel Sierra, the NDB, the final NDB, picked up on our ADF. We do have VOR1, not identifying DME yet. So we haven't identified the VOR over Thessaloniki yet. That's fine. So it's basically straight ahead. We're going to go over the field and then come outbound. Outbound on a course for about 15 miles and then loop back around for the VOR inbound. Make sense? Good? Alright. Here's our descent profile. Starting to catch up with us. There we go. We're hitting it now. And we're descending at 2,000 feet per minute. Cool. Throttle is enunciated idle. Descent, nav, that's fine. Autopilot 1. MDA, you can see, is already in there at 660. Looks a little bit cloudy. The forecast is, well, it's still 330 at 12 knots. Visibility is good, though. Few at 3,000, 14 and 4. Temperature and dew point, respectively, 1021. Let's just make sure I have that set into the standby here. Yeah. Well, so we're on standard for now. We'll set, I think the transition is lower at Thessaloniki, if I'm not mistaken. So if we go to perf, we can go to descent. Nope, we're in descent. Thought it was in here somewhere. Transition level 60. Sorry, transition altitude is 60. What else? What else? Oh, that dim bright switch that I was talking about earlier here. This one here. You can see it's basically these two lights here, and anything else that we have up just dims, and the flight director light just dims that for morning and evening and night operations. Makes it a little bit less strenuous on the eyes. So we've been off blocks for 39 minutes, and we have been airborne for 25. Looking good. It's about a 55 minute little hop here. Another one of the reasons I love the Greek Isles. Everything's kind of close together. So we are starting to see some land up ahead and to our right. I'd love to tell you what island that is, but currently at the moment I'm not exactly sure. You know what? I'll have a quick look. I'll be right back. I'll check it. Okay, so that was a huge mistake because most of everything was on Google Maps was written in Cyrillic, and what wasn't written in Cyrillic was completely unpronounceable, at least with my set of tongue and mouth movements. So unfortunately, this is just some landmass. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm not going to even try to pronounce that. So there's the bay in Thessaloniki. Even that is a stretch for me. Being a native English and French speaker, it's just I'm not even going to try. And I'm used to embarrassing myself on this channel, but that's just not something I'm willing to do yet. So we'll leave it at that. Okay, our descent profile is swinging about just a little bit here, but we're well within the tolerances of speed, so the aircraft is doing a nice job at just managing that nice descent. I did message the person that was departing. They haven't gotten back to me, so I don't think they're quite ready for departure yet. I don't think it'll be a conflict either way. I did put out a message there that we will be coming in against the wind, or sorry, with the wind, yeah. And basically told them that you know, if they wanted to depart first, we could set ourselves up a hold somewhere around here and just wait for them to clear the area. That's basically our only traffic anyway. Alright, I'm going to get the seatbelt signs on because we're getting close to our arrival here, and we're starting to go through the clouds, which does come at a risk of being a little bit bumpy. I guess we could go ahead and press or select our auto brake, which will be low. It's a decent amount of runway. I think it's 8,000 feet or something like that, so, or just under. Maybe 7,000. Either way, plenty of room to stop for a bus, especially lightly loaded as we are. What else? So we're not touching the LS or the landing system. If we did, that's basically for an ILS, so you'd get your localizer here and your glide slope up here. That's not applicable. There is one for runway 16. We're just not going to use it. The aircraft is set up to do the NDB approach, so we're going to learn how to do that today. Or at least we're all going to learn together, because I might screw this up. I have been known to be wrong in the past, so we're all in this together. Just want to remind everybody, life jackets are under the seats. No parachutes, but what are you going to do? Yeah, so there's that Olympic. He just said he's taxiing to runway 33. What I'm going to do is a little bit late to set up a hold over Osmos. Is there anything else we can... Is there a waypoint we can... Elpis, maybe? Yeah, we could set up a hold over Elpis. ELPIS? Yeah, let's do that. Alright, cool. Let's see. Direct to LPIS. Direct to Elpis. Why will you not Elpis? Ooh. Whoops. Nope. Not what I meant to do. Okay, well, it's in there. So we'll do that. We'll do insert. And then we will set up a hold at Elpis. Elpis. And we want hold. And I'm just having a quick think about this. Yeah. Right-hand turns from Elpis. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll do that. Cool. And we will stop our descent. Currently at 12. We'll stop at 9. Like so. Get a chance to slow down. So we're not deviating too far. He didn't reply to my private message, which is fine. I'm a little bit annoyed about that, but that's fine. We've got plenty of fuel anyways. So we'll keep riding down the managed descent down to 9. We'll hold here at Elpis for him to depart. I don't think there's any other traffic. I will check beforehand. And then from Elpis, as we make these sweeping right-hand turns, when we come back around, we'll go Elpis and then direct probably out here to the 15 DME or something like that. And continue our descent. That's fine. We knew this might be a possibility anyways going into this, because we are kind of going against the grain here in terms of the wind. It's actually still picking up. It's now 15 knots, so 320 at 15. So it's a little bit too much of a headwind, or of a tailwind on this approach. We'll have a look. We'll see what we can do. If it's unstable or something like that, we'll just do a go around, and we'll set ourselves up for runway 33. I really want to show off the scenery. That's my only excuse. That's literally why we're doing this. Alright, the aircraft is decelerating to just above green dot, which is what we're going to have for our hold here. And what I want to do is I want to set up the rest of our flight plan here. So we're not going to Osmos anymore. We're not going to... wait, hang on. Flight plan. Elpis. Osmos. We're going to go straight to MKR 15. So what I'll do is I'll clear that, and I'll clear MKR. Can we go direct? Yeah, that's probably what we'll do. We'll do direct MKR 15 when we get out of this. So we're just waiting for that traffic to depart. We're in the hold here. Just gonna sit here in the hold until that other traffic departs. Oh, departing 3-4 via departure. Wonderful, great. It's not. I keep clicking on that tray table. So just having a quick look here on the ND, we can see our traffic departing off of runway 34, the correct runway at Thessaloniki, according to the weather. So we'll do one more time around the mulberry bush, and I'll be right back with you when we set up for our landing, or our approach rather, on runway 16. Okay, having a quick look, that traffic is now above us, so what we can do is we can go direct. If we go direct to, you know what? We'll self-vector here. So what we'll do is we will make a left-hand turn now, like so. If I turn this to all, will we see them above? Ah, there we go, above. Okay, cool. So they're well above us. we will continue our managed descent down to 3,500. Like so. Actually, it's not going to take a managed descent because we don't have any lateral guidance besides heading mode. So what we'll do is we'll take this and we'll go direct to MKR15, insert, there we go. Cool. So that goes into managed, this can go into managed. And we're doing 3,500, 3,500 at the center fix, and then 3,000 at the final fix. Looks good to me. Alright, so shiny switches are on, seatbelt signs are on. We'll go ahead and arm the speed brakes. We've got low auto brake. Standing by on the flaps. Some really nice farming fields, or what seems to be farming fields here off our left-hand side and in front of us. And there's the city. Now you're starting to see the full amount of auto-gen over Thessaloniki. It's absolutely fantastic. That's kind of why I wanted to do this approach once again. We'll zoom in on this ND a little bit. Keep terrain on this side. So there's nothing in terms of terrain on our approach, which is great. Nothing painting on the weather radar either. Still few clouds at 3,000. So we're bang on the descent profile. We're bang on the speed right now. Just easing it into the final fix. Right. Should set local QNH, which is 1021. That is set. Now we're back above profile a little bit. The aircraft will descend to catch up with it. It's better to do that a little bit early so it has a little bit more time to do that. We've got MKR is identified, and we've got DME 8.7 currently, and we've got the THS or Thessaloniki NDB as well, which is our final marker. There's some tiny little towns. I'm not sure if this is part of the scenery or not. I think it's a little too far out to be, but little towns in the middle of all these farming fields, which is really nice. Very, very pretty. And there's the town over there to our front left, or front right rather. Alright, coming up to our decel point here, which is when the speed will start to bleed off quite significantly. There's the town. Here we go. Let's have a quick look. Isn't that absolutely fantastically gorgeous? So beautiful. What a wonderful part of the world. Alright, now we can start to see our vertical deviation, so I'm going to bring it down to 3,000. Let the aircraft sink as far as it wants. Continuing on our outbound here. Like I said, we're not going to be arming the LS. We're just going to be arming... the approach mode, which will have final approach enunciated. We'll see how that works in just a second here. Alright, these hash marks here on the speed tape, that's where we're safe to set out the flaps, so we'll do so. We'll bring on flaps 1. We're coming up to our turn now. We're under the hash marks again, so we can bring out flaps 2. Alright, coming up to the center fix. Go ahead and arm approach. You can see approach nav is armed. Descent final is not. We do have an alt restriction of 3,500, so we'll have to follow that down, which is why I've armed 3,000. We'll go flaps 3, and we'll bring the gear up.
$2,000.
Alright, landing lights, or nose lights, sorry, and runway turnoff go on. All of the shiny switches. We'll bring out flaps full. There's the town. Airport should be somewhere directly ahead of us at this point. Speed's starting to get a little bit low. Now we are above the glide here, but the aircraft is descending, so we have to be at 3,000 by here. We can see approach nav. What we want to see is final approach enunciated here. So will we see that? We're at 3,000. So final is armed. Final's in blue. It should just basically switch to final once we pass this this final approach fix here. Hopefully. Let's see if it does it. If it does it, I'll be super happy. If not, we might have to intervene a little bit. The winds up here are not too bad, 4 knots, so basically nothing. Again, the surface wind is 320 at 15, so we do have quite a bit of a tailwind coming down. See how the Airbus handles it. See how I handle it. So ground spoilers are armed, seatbelts are on, no smoking, and that one is not applicable. That's fuel transfer. That's fine. We are waiting on cabin ready. Maybe if I turn this on, I don't know. There's a cabin-ready logic here. Oh, here we go. Final approach is enunciated. So the aircraft is basically just going to follow itself, follow the flight directors all the way down to our MDA, which is 660. There we go. Final approach. This is how you do an NDB, or sorry, a VOR approach. No LS. Literally just follow this down. Our missed approach altitude, if I bring this up here quickly, I believe it's actually 3,500. So we'll spool this back up to 3,500. There we go. And radio altimeter is alive. We can basically just follow this in. I keep bringing this damn tray out. Back you go. All right, cool. It has to do with the middle mouse, with not Easy Dock, ChasePlane. ChasePlane, whenever you middle mouse, it kind of puts the mouse to the bottom of the screen, and that kind of activates the, with my view position, it just activates the tray table. Oh well. Alright, cool. So everything is looking good here. We're over the town. There's the runway, right on the glide. We can literally just follow this down to 660. I'm not going to. I'm going to hand fly this thing, because hand flying this thing is really is really the fun in this aircraft,
2,000.
honestly. Alright, autopilot's coming out. Take the flight directors out. We'll just follow the vertical deviation here. And we're visual now anyways.
100 above.
So as long as we stay on the vertical deviation and remain somewhat near the center line, we should be fine. Minimums, continue. We are getting pushed a little bit over to the left with the wind. The wind's
500.
Starting to pick up now as we descend towards the field. I'm not too worried at this point. Again, we do have the option of going around at any point. Never really landed this thing in a tailwind either, which is interesting. Showing a little bit low, but we're right on the vertical deviation.
200.
Gonna have to decrab here just a slight bit right before touchdown. It's looking good to me.
100.
Alright. At 50, we start to flare.
50.
There we
40.
go.
30.
Power's coming
20.
back.
Retard. 5.
That was probably a little bit hard, but I'll take it. Honestly, with a tailwind. There we go, right on the center line. Reverse coming out. Spoilers are up. Tray table is now out. That can be stowed. Stay on the center line here. Might even make this exit here. Again, for a tailwind, I'll take that. That's okay. Okay, we're not going to make that exit, so the reversers are in, and the auto brakes are out. Manual braking. We'll vacate here on the end. Oh, stop it! Tray table. The helicopter noise, by the way, you can hear in the background is because there's a helicopter that comes with this scenery over on the right-hand side. I'm not going to zoom or pan over to that just yet, but there's a helicopter in this scenery, and it's a little bit on the loud side. It's okay. We'll just ignore it. Okay, so vacate here on the end to the left, and we'll go ahead and taxi to our stand, which I've pre-selected as stand number 4, because it's right next to the terminal. There's an Avis off to our right. If anybody is looking to hire a car, just vacate here. We'll clean up the aircraft. We'll turn on the old APU. So again, master switch comes on. We wait for the flap open annunciation. And then we can go ahead and hit the start. Wait for it. Wait for it. Flap open. There we go. Start. This goes off. Strobes go off. This goes to taxi. Wonderful. We are coming up to a runway, so I will turn the strobes back on as we cross. So it should be a left, or a right rather, here on Foxtrot. You'd think in my time off I would have practiced my right and lefts. I have not. So right turn here, and then left up ahead, and then we'll just pull up to the parking. What we can do is turn the strobes back off. We can actually turn this off as well. There we go. Oh, I forgot to stop the chrono. So how much time was that? We'll take off about a minute, so 1 hour and 1 minute. A little bit delayed due to that hold. But you can see the mountains here, and the scene. I mean, this scenery is absolutely fantastic, and we passed over the city. It's just so comprehensive. This is only like one of our journey. There are a couple more destinations. There are many more destinations for us to check out in this region, which is where I'm going to be flying for the next little while. Hopefully you're going to enjoy it as much as I do flying it. We'll do a little bit of interesting stuff with the bus. Do we have somebody on our stand? No. Okay, cool. So stand 4 is kind of the parking here. Actually, I was flying with a buddy recently around here, and he said that and I agree with him, the hardest thing about flying here... Oh, there's the helicopter, by the way. There's that chopper making all that racket. He said the hardest thing about this whole region is actually just the parking. Everything else is kind of basically straightforward. Just a little bit different. But the parking in the Greek islands, and in Greece in particular, is just all over the place. It's kind of comical what they do here. All right. Oh, one last thing I want to do before we pull into the stand is turn off the weather radar so that we don't microwave our poor little ground guy, our GSX ground guy. And with that, we'll pull onto stand here. Oh, stop it. That guy's way too sensitive. Okay, parking brake is set. APU is on. Oops, that's not what I wanted. We can go ahead and shut down. 2 and 1. And you're going to tell me how bad my parking was, aren't you? I'm waiting for it. Yeah, go ahead and tell me. MCDU menu, options, doors. We'll get them to deboard us. Request deboarding. And now for my favorite sound on this Airbus, it's the aft cargo door. Hang on, let me set up my view here so that we can get this going. Okay, slightly unrealistic, but we're outside the aircraft and we have the MCDU menu. Just listen to this. That sound. That's so immersive to me. I love that sound, that mechanical whine of the door opening there. And you'll hear it spool down in a second as well. This bus is honestly... This got me so excited about simming again. Really. And the spool down. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just way too excited. If you're wondering where I got the livery from, there's a fellow named Tavers. Check him out via the... When you go to the download section of the Airbus liveries on their website, because that's how you download liveries, just check out user-made liveries and look up Tavers, Tavers. He has made some fantastic repaints for this Airbus. He's also done some for the PMDGs, the 7.3, the 777. He's done a couple now for the 7.4 as well, which we'll get to flying in a bit. But he's an incredibly talented member of the community. I highly recommend you check out his paints. I mean, look at this livery. It's absolutely fantastic. Looks great. And yeah, that's about it. So we've successfully made it here to Thessaloniki. Our next leg will be probably to Corfu or Kirkira, and then we'll continue on from there. There's a couple of more destinations I'd love to check out. But take a second here. Look at the terminal building. I'll do some more cinematic shots of it in just a second here. But look at the mountainscape in the background, and just this whole region is basically like this. I'm sorry, I left VPilot on, but I mean, just have a look at this area. It's absolutely fantastic, and all of the islands are like this. It's really just a fun place to kick around with the Airbus. The Airbus is perfect for these missions, so looking forward to doing a couple more of these in the future. So I'll leave you off with the cinematics. Thank you so much for joining me on this little adventure, leg 1 of our Greek island hopping tour, and I'll catch you next time. All right, take care. Bye-bye.